What's up, my good peoples? We are back at it again with another edition of talking some college football with my boy LaFaro Williams in the building, baby. We are down to two. National title Monday night.
1 week left, man. It's
I know, man.
been
A
a
couple more
crazy
days.
season. It's been a great season.
Yeah, we before we fast forward in, I think the games kind of went according to what we thought they'd look like. That Penn State Notre Dame game, obviously, the Thursday night game was a battle back and forth. It could have went
Yeah.
either way. You had Notre Dame winning that one. I had Penn State, but it was tight in a game where either team could have won that game, and then we both were on Ohio State side. I think we were on the surprising side of, okay, can Texas hang in there? And they did for the most part. And so we had two pretty good semifinal games, I would say, as previous up to the first and second rounds, which we had a lot of lopsided games here and there. But for the most part, I thought Thursday and Friday night's games were pretty good ball games. And like I said, they kind of went according to plan. We thought maybe Ohio State would have a little bit of an easier win than they did, but they pulled it out. So we're looking at Notre Dame versus Ohio State for the Natty on Monday night.
Yeah, it's
first initial thoughts. What you got?
Yeah, just going into Thursday night's game, like you said, we thought it was going to be kind of a slugfest. Both teams were going to beat each other up. We didn't expect a lot of points, even though the game went over. The first half, it looked like Penn State wanted to take that game and dominate it. The way they were able to move the ball up and down the field, they just couldn't score points. I think they had a really good game plan to start the game off, where they were moving the Notre Dame defensive line off the ball, and they were able to run the ball with Allen and Singleton. But I mean, at the end of the day, it came down to Drew Aller not being able to make enough plays. I mean, you can't expect to win a game with not making one pass to a wide receiver. Like literally one pass to a wide receiver. It's all his completions were to backs and tight ends. And I kind of put that on the offensive coordinator as well. It's like, hey, we got to dial something up to get it to our guys on the outside on the perimeter, even if it's slip screens or just little touch passes or whatever, just to get those guys in the flow of the game, even trying to get Drew Aller into the game. But like I said, I think Notre Dame did a great job of hanging in there that first half. Once Riley went down at the end of the first half, you thought like, well, they're not going to score points. And Angeli or whatever his name is came in and
Steve Angeli, he came in and was throwing.
He was slinging it 6 for 7, got him in field goal range. And then that second half, they come out with the second half and they were able to drive down the field and Riley got a touchdown and it was like, all right, game on.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I think for the most part,
like I said, I think, we talked about it. The key that I thought was going to be was, we knew that Riley Leonard, every time we talk about a Notre Dame game, we're going to talk about it versus Ohio State. What is Riley going to do in the passing game? Because we know he's going to get those tough 3-4 yard runs.
Yeah.
We know he's going to get, he'll break a big one here and there. But like, it's what can he do in the passing game? Because I was more concerned too about Jeremiah Love's injury. He was a little banged up, but he came in there and ran hard on some tough runs. Effort. That was a lot of effort.
Yeah, that's a 1-2 right there. That's all that touchdown was.
I think the two huge keys were the Angeli when he came in, that he didn't squander his opportunity, and they didn't, even Notre Dame didn't even like go in the tank and be like, all right, well, let's just concede. They literally let this kid throw it 7 times. I mean, he had like he completed half the attempts that Riley Leonard had. Riley Leonard completed 15 balls. He completed 6.
Throwing some darts,
and that was just on one drive. So he for him to get down there and get him into a field goal range, to get it to a 1-score game, knowing they were getting the ball out of the half, the big drive, to make a statement like, hey, we're in the ball game, to start the second half, make it 10-10, that it was like, reset, game on. And then I think the biggest thing that I had was, after all that said and done, you're here, you're there, Notre Dame comes, they tie it up. Penn State's got the ball late in the game, and it's almost like Kirby, those guys, James Franklin, more conservative game coaches, they kind of press a little bit, like they want to make something happen, and then it forces Aller into a terrible decision. his comments after the game was, I was trying to dirt the ball, throw it at his feet. Well, he didn't do a good enough job and throws a freaking interception, which he's done. We talk about Drew Aller. He's done a great job this year of not turning the ball over, and then he turned it over. His one turnover was at the worst possible spot in the ball game to set him up for a game-winning walk-off field goal. It's just like the game was going to overtime. It's like it's going to OT.
Here's my thing about Drew Aller. It's like you could put the numbers out there and say the numbers what the numbers are, but we know Penn State's schedule. What did Drew Aller do against teams of significance? And that's always been my thing. You say I'm a Drew Aller hater and all of that, but it's like I'm tired of seeing people, us, whoever, prop up these guys that haven't done anything with significance.
The quarterback spot. It just happened.
Especially at the quarterback spot. Oh, he's 6'5", he's 230, he has a big arm, he's this, he's that. And it's just like, okay, can he play football? Can he play when it matters? Can he make situational reads? Can he make passes? Can he put the team in better situations? It's like you think about the play, the wheel route to, I couldn't remember if it was Singleton or Allen, that he missed on the sideline. And he had the DB or the linebacker beat. And all he had to do is just drop it in there, and it's 6. I think it was during the first half. I can't remember when. And he just rockets it up the field, and you're just like, this is what I'm talking about. Even the last 2 plays of the game, you can't hit a screen to Warren, like an easy screen, and then the throwback, you throw it out of bounds when you guys are trying to do laterals and stuff. And it's just like everyone keeps telling me he's a good quarterback, but what has he done against the teams that matter to show me that he could put up 300 yards? Yeah, he could put up 300 yards against Bowling Green and Purdue and teams like that. And it just showed this game, because I felt like if he was adequate in the first half, there was no way Penn State couldn't have been up going into the halftime 17-3, 21-3, or 24-3. Because I felt like they dominated the first half. And then second half, Notre Dame got their sea legs, and they just said, you know what? We got the ball the first to start the second half, and they tied it up, and it just changed the complexion of the game.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I say, I agree. Aller has been, again, I take it back to like the Graham Mertz effect of like, he does what they do in the offense. They're primarily run team, obviously, with those backs they got. They lean heavily on that. Then they have the dynamic guy and the tight end and Tyler Warren. So it's like that's what the offense calls, and so it's in its nature a conservative basis. But like I say, you allegedly have this NFL arm talent, and the consistency is the name of the game in college football, NFL. Like, and he doesn't have that. I totally agree, because like you can go back and look at his stat line, throughout the season and see where. Okay, yeah, he threw for 309 against Kent State, but then he threw for 135 against Illinois, and just completed. It's almost like they didn't want him to do it, because he was 17 to 24 for 135. They probably ran it for 400 yards. But again, part of that is like you got to make, when you're the quarterback and you're in this type of game, you have to elevate everything. You have to make everything better. So like, guess what? Riley Leonard. He wasn't playing great in that first half. He obviously got dinged up right there before that. But the second half, he came back.
Throws.
He made some passes. He hits, like, because that's my biggest question going into Monday night. I'm like, it's all going to be on Riley Leonard, in my opinion, if Notre Dame wants to have a chance. So they did what they needed to do. I think the other big play was like the Great House touchdown, where he literally put Cam on his butt and the safety. Like you never see that too often, where you put 2 guys on their asses on, basically shake moves. And that was the easy touchdown. That was the easiest touchdown that Riley Leonard overthrow. And then the questionable call was that, that pass interference that gifted Penn State, award basically by that pass interference in the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
That extended that to where they were able to score.
But even that pass.
That wasn't even a good throw. That was not a good
throw. In the triple coverage. Like, even if it was a good pass, it was triple coverage. Like, what do you do? What are you doing? Now, in his defense, I'll give him some defense that James Franklin and Penn State have done him. They've done him a disservice by not getting wide receivers. Like,
here's the thing. I don't. The sad part is, I don't know how. I don't know how bad, Harrison Wallace and those guys are, because here's the other thing too. Let's think about the guys who transferred out.
Mm-hmm.
What did they do at their next stop? Like the kid Lambert that everybody wanted went to
Yeah, he
Auburn.
didn't do anything at Auburn.
Exactly. Like
But then
he
he
was
had
just a
Peyton
guy.
Thorne throwing him the ball too.
Well, no, but he was also there with Drew Aller.
No,
Then you
you
think
said
about.
his next stop. You said, what did he do his next
Oh yeah,
stop?
true. I
Yeah.
forgot. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Auburn's quarterback play
Because
was
didn't
bad
Julian
too.
Fleming didn't he go to Penn State?
Yes, and like I say, he was basically a Ohio State reject, and I think he realized like you're not as good as all these guys that Ohio State's got. So, and he never really just materialized at all, man. It's just that's the thing. I don't disagree. They need like wide receiver help. You need guys to basically be able to stretch the field.
Well, I don't think
But
he was a reject.
well, I've been saying he's not the caliber of Ibuka and Jeremiah Smith, and even the guys that were right there.
Yeah,
I forget which
I agree
class.
with that.
I forget which class he came in with, but he was highly rated. But going back and looking at their receivers, like I say, Wallace had 46 for 720, and basically he's hitting the portal because he's like, I need 1,000 because I'm trying to go to the league and I can't put my I can't put my things on display. Amari Evans had 21 for 415. Yeah, Julian Fleming, 14 catches for 176 on the year.
Yeah,
like that.
But still, like
when you get a guy like that, that's your third receiver. You would think, okay, well, we have at least, like, I like Wallace and Evans. I do. I think they're decent, but again, I don't know if are they? Is it the play calling, or does Drew Aller suck? I don't know. It's one of those.
It could be all things,
or
could be true.
All three.
Yeah, all things could be true. And I feel like with NIL and transfer portal, there's no way you can't tell me you can't just bring in a slew of guys at that position and just say, let's try to elevate this position. But like you say, it could be the play calling. It could be James Franklin. It could be Drew Aller. I lean more on Aller than anything because wide receivers are probably like, why do I want to go play for that guy? They're not putting the ball up enough.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I think it's, in a sense, it's more scheme based too. They're going to be more pro run. Like, I'm trying to think. Let's
with
see
those
here.
two backs. Yeah.
But
I mean, but at the end of the day, I think that Notre Dame made adjustments to the second half. You got to give them credit, especially losing another offensive lineman in the game and a defensive lineman. And actually two offensive linemen, and they did the job. And like you say, Riley did enough plays, even on critical 3rd and 4s. That 4th down where he ran it and he picked it up, and is like, we're watching the game together, and you're steady saying, well, Riley's going to run it right here. Riley's going to, and every time you said it, he ran it. And it's just like
3-4 yards a clip, first down, know?
Yeah. So it's, if we knew that, it's hard for me to believe that the Penn State defensive coordinator and defense didn't know he wasn't going to run. But, all in all, Notre Dame did a great job. Marcus Freeman got the team to the chip game where Brian Kelly said he couldn't do it and he was tapped out, and they found a way to get there.
Yeah. Well, here's what's crazy. So I was like, let me look at, because this is me not being correct as well. Like, if I'm like, Notre Dame, or excuse me, Penn State is more prone to run the ball. They are, because they have those two good backs. But like, Drew Aller still ended up being in the top 20 in passing yards in the country. So they do throw it, but it's just like they don't. It's almost like they don't do it, like you say, in the big games,
big games when it matters,
in the critical situations of, it's time to make a play right now. We need to go, hit some pass plays. Like, what's wild is the fact that he's 17th in the country in passing, and his receivers basically have no yards.
All right, so
like, that's stats are deceiving and stuff, but it's
exactly, especially college
stats. They actually do throw the ball, but
college stats are the most deceiving stats. When I hear people get all excited about their running back and their quarterback and their receiver, and you're just like, well, who do they play? Number one, and in the big games, did it matter? Did it, like, I know you're not a fan of Will Howard, but the last 3 weeks, you can't tell me Will Howard hasn't.
But here's the thing: looking at this list right here, he's number 8 on the list in passing yards.
Who's that?
Will Howard.
Yeah, but I don't care about the regular season. What has he done the last couple of weeks?
I think this is. No, I know that. I'm just talking about is this all games? Is this the addition of the playoff, or is this the regular season? I don't even know. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's my thing. When it
like I say,
matters,
you
when it
look at
can
these
be.
quarterbacks in that top 17. They're like several of them were in the playoff. You had uh Will Howard, Dylan Gabriel, Cade Klubnik, Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers, Drew Aller, and Jennings was 18 from SMU. So like all those guys were in the top 18 in passing
Mhm.
yards. And again, so you're like, okay, well they do throw it, but it's like I don't know. It's just Penn State. Like I say, you think of them as like a conservative, run first, double backs, tight end.
Yeah, for sure.
20, 22 personnel, 13.
Like, I
Like
just
it's
don't. Why is Tyler Warren getting opportunities to throw the ball?
yeah,
I know he was a high school quarterback and he was recruited as a quarterback, but that's an indictment of your actual quarterback. If every game you're running multiple plays for your tight end to throw the football, like, come
yeah.
on, man. Like
No, like
even in the SC game, it's like, all right,
yeah, no, like I
we're
say,
dialing up.
and here's the other thing too. We're talking Penn State so much. Like, yeah, Penn
Yeah.
State, James Franklin can't win the big one. Like
Nope.
Notre Dame deserves a lot of credit.
Yep.
Freeman has done a hell of a
100%.
job.
100%.
The big thing was, getting Riley Leonard there, guy. That's why he leaves Duke to go to Notre Dame to try to get to a national title.
Yep.
They play great defense. They're schemed up well. They you could tell that they are assignment football. Like we know what they like to do. They like to run it as well, but they lean on Riley Leonard. But he also can throw the ball well, so he did a good job in that game. Now he did throw the 2 interceptions that like you can't do in these type of games because that could basically be your season. But Jeremiah Love's been amazing. I wish he was 100% fully healthy.
Yeah.
And like I said, they've like Jaden Greathouse has been good. Aeneas Williams has been good. Like they've got some
Mhm.
weapons on the outside that can stretch it. So, like you say, that credit to the inexplicable loss to Northern Illinois. Just
Yeah.
no business losing that game. But they've went on and had a great season after that. They realistically should be undefeated going into this game, but they got the one loss. But they figured it out after that. It was early enough in the season to basically say, all right, let's right the ship. Pretty much handle business all throughout the year. Kudos to Notre Dame. Like I say, I was telling you, we've watched the hype videos that Notre Dame's been putting out. Is like Notre Dame cool again? Like, are they fun to like root for? Like Faro is a undercover old
Mhm.
school Notre Dame fan. He's not a Miami Hurricane fan. He's a Notre Dame Fighting Irish fan. So I know deep down inside you got to be like, hey, let's go Irish.
Not at all.
But yeah, no,
Not at all.
kudos.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's what's weird is looking at these the trifecta of who could have been playing for the national title. We thought Ohio State would win. They did. So you had 3 teams. You're like, all right, one of these 3 teams is going to win the title. Ohio State, Penn State, Notre Dame. I'm like, God, that is just disgusting to me, as a Southern
Yeah.
Southeastern Conference man. And so, but not even just in general, you're like, God, 3 teams you couldn't like almost even hate more. Just if
Yeah.
you're not a fan of those teams, those are like throw Michigan
Yeah.
in there too, and they won it last year. So you're just like, God, like this sucks.
Yeah.
Now the Midwest Big Ten area has put their stamp on the college football the last 2 seasons. So
Yeah. I know
credit,
you SEC fans hate it.
yeah. I mean, like I say, Texas wasn't up to task. Like I said, we can transition into that game because I think we'll talk Notre Dame here in a second when we break down what we think is going to happen on Monday night. But yeah, Texas for the most part was another team with a quarterback that you and Joe have been ridiculing and criticizing all year, Quinn Ewers. He's another guy who's had good numbers in games, been hurt a lot. What is he doing here? What is he doing there? He played pretty good Friday night, but that offensive line couldn't protect in a lot of key situations. They had a rough night. And then on the flip side, I think the self-inflicted
Well,
wounds of Ohio State early in that game kept it from getting like
yeah.
the other 2 games where they blew out
Yeah.
Tennessee, blew out Oregon. They
I
kind
think
of made some mistakes early in that game where it looked like it could be 14-0, 17-0, 21-0 before Texas finally got their footing. But then
yeah.
like the play before the half, it was, in my opinion, was a complete blunder. The Trayvon Henderson touchdown. Like that should have never
Yeah.
happened.
I think for me, what what set the tone for me was the first run, the Travion Henderson run, where Judkins just blew up the corner safety coming off the edge. When I say he blew him up, he blew him up. And I think that just set the tone for the whole Ohio State team
that
to
should have been
say,
targeting.
we're going to go out here, we're going to be fast, we're going to be physical. And it was a war.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, but that should
What
have
was
been
that?
targeting. I said I agree with that, but
It,
like, how is that any
yeah,
different than if a defensive guy would
sure.
have did that to?
Okay.
I'm just being real. Like, you don't agree with that? I'm not saying that
I
would have changed it, but like,
I
why
agree.
is it? Why can the offensive guy
No,
lower his helmet?
no. I agree with you, but
Like, I'm not crying for
no,
Texas on that play, but that's like
I
that's one
but
of
you
the
know
plays
what?
where
But no. But to be honest, with you, I think in both games the officials let them play.
yeah, no, for sure.
I felt like there was a lot going on in both games that the officials were just like, if it's not super egregious, we're not calling it. And
Yeah,
I didn't mind that they let them play, and they did for the most part. And I like I say, I think they set the tone, and they came out those first couple drives, and they did what they were supposed to do, and then they kind of sputtered a little bit because, like you say, if you're Texas, you get that touchdown and make it what 7-7, and then the very next play, it's like it's funny if you go back and watch the play, the linemen were like, "No one out here to hit.
yeah,
Who's
no,
out here?"
that's what, yeah. It was like almost the coverage. They were in like almost like a prevent or a safe defense,
Or they could have
and
been rolled over to number 4.
yeah, it's just it was ridiculous how like
Mm-hmm.
wide open that run, the screen, whatever, and it's just like, okay, touchdown. Yeah, and you literally give up that with 13 seconds left in the half. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? That was to where you're like, you got this thing, we reeled it back in after,
Yeah.
look, it could have been bad. Finally got their
Mm-hmm.
footing down. Ohio State was having trouble with the backs out of the backfield. And then, for all intents and purposes, okay, you score that touchdown, then even Texas comes back in the second half, plays well again
Yeah.
to tie it up at 14. So you're like, okay. Like I say, it was an epic battle in that second half, back and forth with no scores. Then finally Texas does make the score to tie it up on that 70-yard drive. And then you're like, okay, can Texas get a stop? They've been doing pretty decent on
Yep.
that Ohio State offense. Talking about Jeremiah Smith, I loved the defensive coordinator and the defensive plan they had to say, we're not going to let 4 beat us. Carnell Tate's
Yep.
got to make catches, which Carnell Tate dropped a touchdown on that first drive of the game. Now they ended up scoring.
He did.
They scored still on that drive,
Yep.
but he was getting a lot of balls.
Like you said,
Emeka was getting a lot of balls.
everybody else had to beat us but 4.
Exactly. And that's the game plan you might want to go with. So can those other guys make the big plays? For the most part, they were doing that to keep the offense moving, keep drives going, getting first downs and stuff like that. But obviously the huge play before the half with Henderson was big.
Mm-hmm.
But you're like, okay, it's coming down to this drive. Can Texas get another stop? And I mean, Ohio State looked flawless on that 7-minute drive, or however long, 8-minute drive.
Mm-hmm.
Did they go? Was it 88 yards, dude? That was the other part too. It was like a 13 plays, like right down the field touchdown. You're like, man. I was like, it's a wrap because I was
Those
like,
are
I just
those
don't.
demoralizing drives that we as offensive linemen love because
Yeah, no, for sure.
we just
It's
get
like
to beat guys up for
they're like,
a
you know
whole
what?
series.
They're like, yeah, Texas, good job, way to tie it up, great play, blah blah blah,
Yep.
whatever. Let's go down and like they executed like the 4th down run play that they called with Will Howard, where like you say,
Where he trips.
some
Keep your feet.
sniper got him in the 12th row. But then you're like, okay, I was like, I don't have confidence in Quinn Ewers to get down there, and by goodness, he made some big throws. Got him down there where it needed to get to, and then Steve Sarkisian on the goal line in the red zone strikes again. Like
I'm tired of people defending him, like on the play call on second down. Not just like you had a first.
I'm a defender of it because it's like I'm not. Here's the thing, I'm critical, but then again, I'm not critical because it's easy to basically second guess a coach when they're wrong. Obviously, that's what we do. That's what we're doing right now.
Here's
Like he tried to get slick. He tried to outsmart him because The first down play is like, okay, I'm the closest I can get right here. Let me get in my biggest package.
But he wasn't. He was not in his biggest package.
He was still in a heavy run formation. Like the first down play, they got busted in the nose and like basically
here's what I'm
do
saying.
nothing with it.
Here's what I'm saying.
We say this every week when like we watched. We say, why is everybody just running it 4 straight times against Texas?
Hold on.
Right up the middle. Right up the middle.
Stop telling me you have an NFL offensive line where you have both tackles are rated rounds 1 and 2 tackles, right? Your interior is pretty good. I have seen Steve Sarkisian put Byron Murphy, who plays for Seattle, defensive tackle, and Trevontae Sweat, defensive tackle that plays for the Tennessee Titans, in the backfield at the same time. And I forgot the defensive tackle they currently have now in the backfield in previous years, where they're on goal line sets where you have 800 pounds in the backfield and they're getting in, and you choose not to do it not one play. You mean to tell me this whole season you haven't done that this whole year? You couldn't put in extra offensive linemen, defensive tackles in to get that 1 yard? Because if you go back and look at the play on second down, if you look at the interior of the line, half of the Ohio State defensive linemen were on the ground. So if you would have ran it straight, possibly you could have got it in. So that's why I say I don't like the play call. It's like, maybe we say this every week because
they were almost like in a trips formation on that play.
But majority of the time when we say we hate when teams don't run it in, is because they're in shotgun majority of the time, and they're not getting downhill. Like, you got to hell put somebody. He could have put Gunnar Helm at quarterback and let him push it in. He's done it before. Like I say, I've seen him do it before. So that's why I say I can't defend the play call. Because
I can't defend the play call either. I think it was a bad call too.
If I've never outsmart him, what I'm saying is, my thing is, Sponge, if I've never seen you do any of the things I just said, I would give you the benefit of the doubt and just say, hey, you're a finesse team and you can't run it in. But I've seen Texas line up in heavier personnel before.
I agree. So what happens is in that situation is, you should have did that maybe on first down, which they didn't. So then you try to get sneaky on second down. So then you can't make those calls on third and fourth down.
Also, remember,
you're stuck behind the chain.
The previous first down, they got a pass interference and they moved it up a half a yard to get you another 4. Yeah. So you have technically 5 plays at the 1.
Yeah, they had a pass interference in the end zone. To whereas like they went back and showed, like I say, Sark on the goal line like last year versus Oklahoma, 4 straight plays, couldn't get it in. I mean, they tried to run it 3 times and they tried to throw like a quick screen throw to Worthy.
Well, what doesn't help either is the fact that Isaiah Bond wasn't fully healthy to where you could probably throw some fade routes to him. But I just felt like
Golden was hurt, so you couldn't do that either.
Yeah,
so
I just felt like in that situation going against that defense, there was no way you're going to outflank them.
I don't disagree with that. Why I try to go against a fast like that play just doesn't work anymore because
Caleb Downs was out there so fast.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, not even that. Like the whole left side of your offensive line got their ass whooped. So like it was literally like everybody. It was like Katie bar the door, come on through here. So like it was part execution sucked, and then Caleb Downs made a hell of a play, and it was a dumb call. It was like a combination. Like again, all things could be true.
Hell, go Wildcat. You could have went Wildcat and went heavy.
Yeah, no, like I say, that's what we can do on Monday after the game. Like when you're in the heat of the moment, you're trying to make that call. You're like, hey, can I get outside on these guys? And then it's
someone should have been like, Sark, we can't.
No, it's that fast where you're not going to be like, you can't stop it. He's the one calling
it. That should have never been in your goal line. Like when you're playing against Kentucky or Mississippi State, even teams like that, I don't think you could almost pull that off.
That's what I'm saying. The other thing is, again, this is what we like. We literally talk about this all the time. Is like watching, who was it? It was Texas A&M in the Texas game. We sat here and watched it. They ran it up the middle 4 straight times, and we're like, why are they running it up the middle? We criticize like, why do they do this?
No.
Because they can't run it on them.
No,
so
I don't mind. I don't mind.
I can't run it. I can't run it at these guys.
No, I don't mind a throw on second down.
No,
all I'm saying, that play, hell, spread Helm out, leave him out to the right by himself, and do a jump ball with him. I'd rather see that than what they ran on that play. I'm not talking about not throwing it or not trying to be deceiving or whatever. I'm talking about that play call. I
Like I
did
say,
not like that play
what
call.
I know what killed him in that situation was the fact that he put himself at the 7-8 yard line with 2 plays. You know, it was like that. That's where it's super hard to score on that defense, anyways, even from the
For
1
sure.
or the 7,
Yeah.
because obviously you're so condensed and it's tight and all that. So you're like, okay, and then what happens on 4th down? The right tackle gets completely just obliterated. Like, just Jack Sawyer runs right by him.
Oh,
Strip
you talking
sack.
about on the final drive? Yeah.
No, that is the final drive. That's what I'm saying. Like
No.
they
Drive. Yes.
this
Yeah.
was the
You're right. My
yeah,
bad. My bad. Yeah.
like, that's what I'm saying. That second down play call,
Yeah.
hindered 3rd and 4th down,
Yeah.
because it made you basically that's why it was it was just bad all around. It was like,
Yeah.
first down, you're right there at the doorstep, you run it right at them,
Twice.
they
2
bust.
first downs. Because, like I
They
said, the
threw it.
pass interference, and then
Yeah, I
you
know.
had another opportunity.
Yes, but I'm saying the first down play, when you're at the doorstep,
Mm-hmm.
they get their nose busted, go nowhere. The second down sweep play, you lose 7 yards, and now you're like, okay, my 3rd and 4th down calls, this is going to be hard because I can't run it from here. And then, so you got to throw it. And basically, like I say, the 3rd down play was incomplete in the end zone. And then 4th down, like I say, that right tackle who had gotten abused all night. I mean, Jack Sawyer just dipped right around him and blew by him. I mean, he was basically in Ewers' lap like 2 seconds after he got the ball. Strip sack, bounces right to him. Jack Sawyer touchdown to,
But I think,
ice it. But it was just like, is that like,
but those two were getting beat on. Like I say,
oh, I know, not even
that's what tripped.
not that drive. That was
No,
part of
just
the
the
problem
whole
all
game.
night.
That's
Yeah, no.
that's what trips me out sometimes about draft stock and this and that. JTT and Sawyer were just like, I texted you and Joe. I'm like, on the first drive, they had more sacks on the first drive than they had in 4 years against Michigan, which is crazy.
Yeah, no, like I
And
say,
it's just it's like, come on, guys. Like, I just feel like, as coaches, hey man, maybe Sark need to get them boys pushing that damn sled during the summer
no,
or
like
in
I say,
practice.
it's
But
like,
that's a lot of teams. There's a lot of teams that are just not physical at the point of attack, and that's why I think they probably had a lot of red zone issues this year, because they weren't getting any push up front.
yeah. Well, like I say, the other thing too, we talked about in this game, the key stat that I said, the reason why I thought Ohio State would do a runaway is I watched the previous game to where, Texas is all on Ewers' arm making plays. Like Wisner, I like him as a back. I like Jaden Blue as a back. But
It's
like,
just not.
so I count on them running the football, and they
No.
didn't do it against Arizona State. Wisner did a decent job in this game to continue some drives. He did, but it wasn't like they didn't overly impress on the ground. But they kept drives going as much
like I
as
say,
you
their
could.
feature backs out for the year, and
He didn't play. He didn't play a game. So
yeah.
On the flip side of that, we knew Texas had a great run defense too. So we're like, can Judkins and Henderson get loose running the ball? And they pretty much did a great job of containing them as well, like Texas's defense. So it was going to come down to Will Howard making plays. Was Jeremiah Smith going to make any plays? What receiver, if you take him away, who's going to make plays? And that's what they did offensively. What Texas did, Sark and those guys, they were like, all right, well, we run it when we can. They found ways to get their backs involved, obviously, in the passing game, which was really big. But I thought Ewers played a decent enough game to like
100%.
He played good enough against Ohio State. This is the other thing too. We take it away because all we talk about is Will Howard and Jeremiah Smith and Trayvon.
No, that defense is legit.
It is freaking awesome. Like 5-star Central, that are now seniors, like a Jack Sawyer and a JTT and all these guys. Like, so they're loaded. So it was just a war of attrition. It was a battle.
Yeah,
it was
great.
It was a great game. It was great. It was great.
And then the stat they put up where majority, outside of 3 guys on that defense, they've all started together for like the last 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, you bring in the Downs and a couple guys. I mean, but for the most part, it's and like I say, you can just tell the intensity ever since that Michigan game has been ratcheted up, even though the defense has legitimately played great majority
all
of the
season.
year, probably outside of the Oregon game.
Yeah, for sure. And
outside of that, but they've taken it, like I say, that first playoff game, you could just tell when they played against Tennessee that they were on a mission and they were physical. And then the next week, you thought there was going to be a drop off, and there wasn't. And then this week, you thought there was going to be a drop off, and there wasn't. And it was just like you say, it was just all on the offense. Just give us it's just like one of those, like the Ravens and those defenses. Hey boys, just give us enough points on the offensive side, we'll take care of the rest on the defensive side, and that's pretty much what they've done.
Yeah,
And
no,
you
like I
got
said,
to
that's
give Ryan Day and Chip Kelly credit
yeah.
offensively, and Jim Knowles. Did you see the Jim Knowles presser
No.
on the last? You got to watch it. On basically what happened on the last drive, he sounded like watching between John Madden and the old Batman TV show where he was doing booms and pows and stuff like that. It was pretty funny. He didn't
Yeah,
give you
no,
anything.
nice. Like I say that's why I think that Michigan game was so inexplicable. Like this, like how are y'all playing this poorly, this badly at
Offensively,
home?
offensively,
Yeah. They played good defense, obviously, because it was
yeah.
a low scoring game. But it's just like, yeah, what is going on? To where is it? Yes, Michigan has a good D, but like Texas has a good D. Penn State has a good defense. Obviously,
I mean,
Notre Dame.
it's. I know we talked about this, and we were talking about it with Ricky. It's like you don't want to sit there and say, did they just want to play conservative because they knew they were in the playoff? They just knew as long as they didn't get blown out, they were in. Like, because just thinking about that game and watching that game, like offensively, they just didn't. It just didn't make sense what they were trying to do on the offense to me in that Michigan game.
Yeah, what's
And
crazy again, I guess going into thinking about it too, like you know, it kind of refueled them almost in a sense. It was like the Michigan loss almost has benefited them to win a national title because it's like made them a different team. They didn't have to play that extra game and play in Oregon another time in the Big Ten game. So basically, you're like, okay, you lose the Michigan game, you get embarrassed, they plant the flag, but then that refuels you, energizes you. You don't have to play that game, and then all of a sudden now
flag.
you're on a freaking mission now, and you blazed everybody, and so now it's like you're in the Natty, like. So there's a couple things I want to throw out before we get into the Notre Dame Ohio State breakdown.
Okay.
One would I was gonna ask. We'll ask Joe this later when we see him next time. But like, who would you rather have, Steve Sarkisian or James Franklin as your head coach?
Sark.
Yeah, that's who I take. Just because, even though he's had struggles on the goal line, I still like his dynamic play calling.
But I think that's part of that is personnel as well. Like you say, not having a bigger back in the CJ Baxter, and then some of your wide receivers not being 100% healthy in that game. Like you say, there are no excuses, but like you say, Golden and Bond being kind of hurt, they're not explosive.
Golden didn't play until that last drive.
Right. And then even Bond was ineffective because you think about Isaiah Bond when he was at Alabama, he was that red zone target when you needed a jump ball. And he's been hurt. So Silas Bolden, sorry, too many Boldens and Goldens.
Yeah.
But he's what, 5'7", 5'8". You can't throw the ball up to him.
Yeah,
like I said, the only
speedy guy. Wingo is pretty damn good. The freshman who's going to be good going forward.
Yeah.
I
would have rather seen a Gunnar Helm.
Yeah,
I would have rather seen a Gunnar Helm fade ball or something like that. Let him. But then again, like you say, on the other side, those guys are just as athletic. So would you have gotten a matchup you wanted? And then you still would have had to have yours put up a great fade ball.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I say, that, like, again, like Latham Ransom, he was the other guy on that second down sweep play who's the guy who made the tackle. He was a 5-star guy coming out of high school. Like, they're just littered. That defense, the offense.
I'm curious to see what that defense is going to look like next year.
Yeah,
they're going to have guys, but not the experience that they have this year.
Oh yeah, like the crazy part is like Caleb Downs still has to be there.
Yep,
it's wild.
If he stays,
he could portal out somewhere. I'll go win. Let me go win a natty.
I don't put anything past anyone these days when it comes to college football.
No, what's funny is I've heard some rumors. I'll tell you off camera. This is too juicy.
Yeah,
but now it might change now even after this game. But we'll see going forward in the next game. But yeah, the other question is the one floating around there. Obviously the Dave Portnoy. You lose to Michigan, like this national title is going to have an asterisk by it. Like, are you in that camp? That's so baloney, phony baloney.
That's just rivalry. That's just rivalry talk right there to me.
Yeah, like, I mean, yes, you could hold it over your head, like,
whatever.
What was it? The year that Florida the year that Florida beat LSU when they won one of those natties, like, okay, we beat LSU that year. Like, I don't even remember, like, LSU won the national title.
Yeah,
we beat.
I just feel like that's just rivalry talk. And if Ohio State wins on Monday night, the best team in the country won, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like, so what's funny is, like, again, for all the people out there 4 weeks ago who wanted to fire their coach, man, like it's just these fanatics from Ohio State.
I don't think it's fanatic. I think it's just you've lost 3 straight to your rival.
It's 4, I think.
Yeah. Remember the conversation we had earlier this year when I was telling you how serious it is up there?
I know that.
and it's dead serious, man. And those people,
I know.
those people are not happy.
But here's the, but like I say, Michigan had a nice run. Here, what's wild is, even like listening to Portnoy talk about beating you for, like, in the last 20 years, I think Ohio State's beaten them like 15 out of 20 times.
Remember, dude, when Tressel? Well, remember when Tressel was?
I'm just saying in the last. I'm just saying in the last 20 years.
No.
I'm not even going back.
No, Tressel took over in what, 99, 2000, 99, 98.
Right.
I think they may have won one.
Yeah,
after Tressel, years, the Urban years, they didn't win any. I don't think when Urban was there. So their first win in, like you said, like 15, 16 years was,
I think they had one. They had one in one of those areas, and then they won like the last 4.
Yeah. So you've won 5 in like 25 years.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's just we're in the relevant time of recency bias where we are now, prisoner of the moment. And like I say, yes, here's the thing. Ohio State will beat Michigan again. Will it be next year? I don't know. But they're going to beat them again, and it's going to cycle through. But it's like, it's like when we go in those lulls where we lose to like Georgia for like 5 years or Florida State for like 5 years. Then all of a sudden we get a couple run. It was kind of like, hell, we talk about Florida-Georgia rivalry basically since Spurrier took over and how we've dominated that rivalry. Well, now Kirby's come in the last decade and they're owning it. Like we've won like twice in the last 10 years. You know, so it's like
it happens.
But like it totally does. You go in these cycles, so you're just hoping that, like, all right, can we break this cycle and get one of these wins? So it's like Florida with Florida State. We struggled with the Noles the last couple of years, so. Finally got a win against the Noles. But yeah, it's like the Ryan Day. What's funny is, did you see his like pregame? Dog was hype.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
I was like, what I'm saying? So they're coming in with a different attitude. They're coming in with a different mission.
So who would you take, Day or Sark?
Well, I said James Franklin. I would take Sark. As far as Sark and Day goes, I would take Ryan Day. He's proven he's won. Like, he just has had a little rough patch with Michigan, but I think they're going to win the national title. So he's going to have a national title. To where Sark, the play caller, I would take Sark.
100%, 100 times. Like, there's a reason why Chip Kelly's the OC at Ohio State right now.
Yeah, no, and like I say, I've loved Chip Kelly. I love Chip Kelly in his Oregon days. I like Chip Kelly when he was with the Eagles. Now I don't know what happened at UCLA. Like, that was just a weird whatever.
I think he didn't want to deal with NIL and transfer portal.
That's what I'm saying. He just wants to coach
football. As an OC,
football.
you really don't have to.
Yeah, I just want to get in my bag and dial it up. And what's amazing is, like, you should have been dialing this stuff up all year, but you're like, let's try to run it on Michigan. Let's just try to run it right at them. Yeah. Physical ball.
I think they've held a lot in their bag all season.
For sure.
They probably didn't have to use it majority of the time outside of the Oregon game and the Michigan game.
Yeah. All right. Monday night. We've talked about both of these teams. Well, where you at? Buckeyes.
I got Ohio State winning.
The lines moved down from 9. It started at like 9.5, 10, has dropped down to about 8.
I was trying to get people to bet. I like Ohio State. I saw a stat that says the Notre Dame defense plays single coverage 56% of the time. I don't expect that a lot on Monday night. And if they do, number 4 is going to torch them. It comes down, can Riley Leonard make enough plays? And I don't think he can. And we're not talking about on the ground. He's going to have to be able to throw the football and make enough plays like he did in the second half against Penn State. The Penn State defense is a really great defense. I think Ohio State's defense is probably 4 times better than that. Now, on the flip side, Ohio State's going to have to get down the field and don't go through lulls of not putting points on the board. And if they can put points on the board, I expect it to probably be like a 31 to like 17 type game.
That sounds about right. And like I'm with you. I think Ohio State wins. It's just like everybody's second guessing Notre Dame, I think, going in. So we'll hear a lot of Ohio State talk for the whole weekend and how Notre Dame doesn't have a chance and yada, yada, yada. And part of me wants to say this is going to be a blowout like the first two Tennessee and Oregon games. But then part of me is like, can Notre Dame hang? Can they, they've been second guessed kind of like throughout the season. They do have a great defense, but I just don't think they can keep up. And I think that we've talked about it. I think Ohio State is on a freaking mission. They're ready to go. Like they're not just going to all of a sudden you're in the national title game. They're not going to lay an egg. You know what I'm saying? That is out the window.
Notre Dame's problem is, can they score enough points?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I don't like Notre Dame's offense to score. Can Notre Dame's offense score 28? I don't think so.
The defense is going to have to turn the ball over and put either score or put the offense in great scoring positions.
Well, like you said, field. I think Ohio State can score 28. I mean, so you said 31-17. So I just feel like we talk about it all the time with Notre Dame's. They're obviously a run first. Jeremiah Love, those guys.
He needs to be 100% healthy.
He's not 100% healthy. No way. And so then it comes down to, Riley Leonard's still going to get some of those 3 and 4 yards runs. He just will, just because of the design of the offense. They're going to be kind of spread out, but doing it against that defense, every other play, it's going to take a toll to where, you got to be able to complete some balls. Can Jaden Greathouse make a play like he did against Penn State? Maybe. But I like the Ohio State defense. I like their whole package. And this is why I picked them to going into the beginning of the season. Just they're loaded on defense. They're loaded on offense. It was going to be like, insert Kyle McCord, Will Howard. It doesn't matter. They're going to be good offensively because of all those weapons they have. And I just think it's going to be a blowout. I think Ohio State,
especially,
I think it's going to be like 38-17, 38.
Especially if they don't have the blitz, which they really haven't had to do. Their front four, like you say, with JTT and Sawyer and those massive defensive tackles have controlled the lines of scrimmage the last 3 games where they haven't had the blitz. Those guys are coming off on the edge like just
you got to protect. You got to protect Riley. You got to keep an extra guy in. Like, so that means
now you only get 2 and 3 guys out on the route.
Exactly, and you got Caleb Downs lurking back there as the center fielder. You got good corner. Like it's. I'm not saying it's impossible because obviously they've been beaten twice this year. What I said
going battle.
Right. And what I said going into last week, the question I asked you was, can Ohio State have that aha Michigan moment, or like does Will Howard turn it over a couple times and then make that Texas game close? And we both were like, no, I think they're on a mission. If that was their blip game and they still were able to do what they're going to do, then that means they're going to come out guns hot on Monday night. And I think basically that was their trip up game in the playoffs to where like, oh, we're in a game. We got some adversity. We got to deal with this team's tied us up late in the fourth quarter. What are we going to do to strike back? And what did they do? They went on that big drive and scored.
I think that was just a great play caller.
Yeah. No, and on top of that,
was able to dial up some plays.
Well, like I say, on top of that too, is like, I know that we you and Joe and myself, we bag on Texas a lot this year. And it was primarily why didn't he bring Arch in too? Like, Arch, he played that one down, got the first down, but didn't bring him in again.
See, that was my other thing. They did that a ton down in the red zone area where they brought Arch in and they ran that. So that's why I say that second down play.
I guess the problem is when you do that, it's like there's no allusion to this. We know what's going to happen. But again, when you're at the one, you know what's going to happen. Well, it's like with the Eagles when they're at the 1 yard line. What are they going to do?
Who cares?
So
that's when you tell your offensive line, like, hey, this is big boy ball.
No,
We all
what
know
we
what
are.
we're doing in
Well,
here.
that's what we always say. My nuts are bigger than yours,
Yeah.
and I'm about to
Sometimes you
like
got to
put.
drop them.
Yeah, so I can say they didn't. I thought Texas ended up, playing a good game, but Ohio
Hmm.
State, if that was their blip game of like, okay, we
On
finally
offense.
had,
Yeah.
yeah, no, exactly, because they played great defense throughout the whole season.
Yeah. I just
But
think Notre Dame is not dynamic enough to put Ohio State. Notre Dame offensively is not dynamic enough to put Ohio State in situations to where they could, you know what I'm saying, catch a play here and there. Because, Notre Dame just wants to line it up and be in a heavy personnel, like 13 personnel at times, and run the football. And I think Ohio State matches up great with that because, like I say, they played the Michigans and they played, other teams that figure let's just line up and run against them, which you can't really do that against them because their front four is just that good, and they're
yeah,
good against the run, and then on the passing downs, they just get off the ball quick. And like I said, they don't have the blitz linebackers. Now in this game, I just don't see Riley being. Can he be it? I don't see him being efficient throwing the football.
yeah, he was good enough without the
Hmm.
2 interceptions against Penn State. And I guess here's the thing too. Freeman's a defensive guy. He's gonna like Notre Dame's defense has looked good. So, like you said, they play man a lot. So, what is their game plan going to change? What are they going to do? Are they going to take that approach of saying, okay, let's isolate Jeremiah Smith. We can't let this guy beat us. Do you think they're going to take that approach like Texas did, and or are they just going to play their? I'm playing my game. This is my style. This is what we do. This is how we do it. We're coached
I
up well
think it's
enough.
going to be a little bit of both. I think Al Golden's going to try and mix it up a little bit
Yeah, Golden's been good.
defensively, and
Golden's been like that defense. Like I just thinking about this is the other thing too, man. All right, look at who Notre Dame's played in the playoff, and they get Indiana, where they basically were just way better than them. Yeah,
yep,
Indiana scored late in these games, whatever made it interesting. They blew out Indiana.
yeah, that was a
We,
blowout.
we we talked about Indiana. Probably was one of those fringe teams that shouldn't be in there, but they went 11-1, so they got in there.
Hmm.
Uh, then they get a Carson Beckless Georgia team who
Hmm.
struggled offensively, and then they got to play Penn State, who we've ragged all year with Drew Aller. So it's
Hmm.
like they've had, in my opinion, not I won't say easy, but they've had 3 light opponents to where Ohio State.
Offensively,
Look what
offensively,
yeah, and that's yeah, totally offensively.
yeah,
Those are not 3 offensive juggernauts.
no,
Like even if Notre Dame would have played Texas, who would you pick if Notre Dame and Texas were playing?
I probably would have picked Texas.
Yeah, I think I would
I,
pick.
I, I think
I
I
think it'd
think
be close. I think it'd be
I think
close,
it would
but I
have
think
been
I'd pick
just.
Texas.
I think it would have been like the Penn State game, Notre Dame, Penn State. But I think Texas's offense is good enough to score enough points. Like I think in that first half, if it would have been Texas Notre Dame in that first half, and Notre Dame would have played the way they played, it probably would have been 14 to 21 points on Texas's side. My
Yeah,
opinion.
if Penn State was out, and if
Yeah,
the switch and Ohio State Penn State were playing in the one semifinal, and
mhm,
then Texas, yeah, I think
yeah,
Texas. I agree. I think Texas would have taken advantage of those early uh, mistakes, or
and that's what Penn State couldn't do, and
yeah,
that's always been my thing about Penn State is like when you're up on the team, you got to jump on the team. It's no different than Saturday's game where the Chargers and Texans, the
yeah.
Chargers dominated the first half for the most
Dude,
part.
I was like barely watching that game, and I was just like, yeah, I was like, this game's so ugly, dude. I'm not. I was like, I had it
Yeah,
on, but I was like doing stuff, and it was. I just saw where the Chargers had a couple field goals. They couldn't get in the end zone, but they
couldn't
they
get in
had
the end zone.
they had a turnover early.
Yep.
Then I didn't even I wasn't even watching it. I was upstairs. I just flipped the phone on. I'm like, what the heck happened? I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you it doesn't matter if you come out like gangbusters, but if you can't score and put up enough points and you leave the other team in it, eventually the other team's offense can start clicking. And I felt like that's what happened in the, like I said, the Notre Dame Penn State game. It's like they didn't score. So now if going into Monday's game, if somehow Notre Dame could stop Ohio State from putting up points in the first half, they're going to have a chance.
yeah,
They're going to have a
I think
chance
that's the
if.
key. I think that's the key is you got to not let Ohio State get off like
Yep.
a firecracker, which they did in the first 2 weeks where they didn't last week, to where
Yep.
you kind of keep it a 1 or 2 score game
Mm-hmm.
going into the half to say, okay, we got 30 minutes of ball. We're in this game. Can we make something happen and make it a one possession game? Then it's tight. Turnover here, turnover there, big play
Mm-hmm.
here, big play there. All of a sudden, the tide's turned. We're in a ball game. They gotta survive that early swell where
Yep.
Ohio State is all of a sudden, damn, it's 14-0. This thing's
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's what they have to. That's the only way.
I pulled up the box score of last year's game,
Notre
which
Dame,
was
Ohio State.
a straight nail biter to the end there, to where that was the game where DH was saying, you gotta kick the field goal. You gotta take the field
Oh
goal.
yeah. Yeah. I
That was
also
they got didn't they lose a down or get an extra down or something
yeah.
too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They also had a better quarterback.
Yeah.
They didn't have a running back at quarterback. Notre Dame, that is.
Yeah, Sam Hartman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Riley. You like Riley Leonard better, right?
What I'm saying is I think when it comes down to throwing the football, Sam Hartman is better than Riley Leonard.
Yeah.
Riley Leonard is just he's just a competitor. He's a gamer.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
just comes out and he's not a
Yeah,
great thrower
I
of the
know
football.
that's what I'm saying. We bash him throwing the ball, but he gets it done sometimes too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He just finds a
even when
way.
he was at Duke, you're like,
Yeah,
man, this guy
he just
he'll
finds
throw
he just finds a way.
he'll throw some balls where you're like, damn, like that was nice. And then
Well,
like
he
you said,
threw one to the tight end in the game the other night on the sideline. That was like, all right, Riley, but can he do that consistently?
yeah, right.
That's the problem. He can't do it consistently. Where I think
Yeah.
Sam Hartman could do it more consistent than him. That's why I say I think Sam Hartman is a better thrower of the football than Riley Leonard. But other aspects of the game, Riley Leonard is just better.
Yeah, I would take Riley just because of those other things that he brings to the table in the college game, obviously too.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
like him being able to get those extend drives, that's huge. That's a big part of their offense. Like those 3 and 4 yard runs where he just goes right up the middle, like he falls forward and he gets 2.
Yeah.
So it's like but
almost the line gives him enough push to get past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, like I say, I'm intrigued by the game, but I just feel like Ohio State again is just they're a different team. They're on a mission. All those things I think are working against Notre Dame.
I agree.
Do I think Notre Dame's capable? Sure, but they got to show me again.
Yeah.
And it's going to come down to, can Riley Leonard make plays? Can those backs get any yards to continue drives? Because that was part of Texas' issue. We said, can they be able to run the ball? And even going back to Oregon, they weren't able to run the ball. Tennessee wasn't able to run the ball. And then when you're behind the 8 ball, 3 touchdowns, it's a wrap. There ain't nothing you can do about it. So
no.
Can they survive that early wave?
Yep.
And I don't think so. We both don't think so. We think it's easy cover for Ohio State. I agree. The Buckeyes are going to win the national title. Man, that's it. The season's over. Then we're on to the transfer portal talk, spring ball, coaches carousel. Are any of these
NFL? We still got the NFL.
No. Are any of these
looking forward
guys
to the games this weekend?
I know. Are any of these guys going to be up for NFL jobs? They keep swirling those rumors around.
Freeman got an interview by the Bears. I'm the only person that me and you are the only people the Bears haven't interviewed yet.
Did he take the interview?
I mean,
obviously
think so.
He can't take it until after the game.
Yeah, so no, it doesn't matter. College coaches don't matter. They could do it whenever. It's NFL coaches that are still in play.
So, did he do an interview?
I don't know. It's you hear conflicting reports about it. So
because that would be a question mark going into Monday night. You're like, damn, our coach just did an interview with the Bears.
I like Marcus Freeman, just not for I just all the names I keep hearing for the Bears job is just like why?
I know.
At this point, we're just interviewing the interview, which you know what they're doing their due diligence. As frustrating as it is, I'll give them that. But as a Bears fan, it's just like, hey man, if it ain't Ben Johnson, I don't want him. For me,
no, I know that.
I don't want Mike McCarthy. I don't want Pete Carroll. I get why you would want Mike.
NFL is
Mike
a bunch of it's either retreads or hotshot
100%.
OCs. So Joe Brady, Ben Johnson, those are the hotshot OCs.
The usuals, like the usuals.
Pete Carroll, Mike McCarthy, Robert Saleh. Like, dude, you think I want as a Jags fan? You think I want Robert Saleh? Like,
Because like if you're the Jags and you bring in Robert Saleh, who is Robert Saleh going to bring in as his OC to help Trevor Lawrence?
Right.
Because at least, and at least if you bring in a young gun OC, I don't think Liam Cohen should be the guy, but just say if they bring in a Cohen, even if Cohen brings his own OC and that guy rockets up the chain and he becomes a head coach, at least Cohen's still there to say, I still could call plays and do things and help Trevor out on a daily.
Well,
But you bring
if they
in
do
Robert.
hire if they do hire Liam Cohen, he better call the plays like that. Like,
well, that's going to be the next thing, right? Like with this franchise, man, I just don't put anything past them. It's like the more and more you hear out of that building, you're just like, you just roll your eyes. The latest stuff on Trent Baalke is just hilarious to me.
yeah, no, I guess Dan Graziano did like
he's like a cockroach.
Yeah,
I hate to call someone that, but everything you hear out of that building, it describes a cockroach surviving.
I feel like, did Graziano say Carroll was going to go to Chicago?
I'm telling you, they've been saying Pete Carroll. A lot of people like Mike McCarthy.
Because Graziano's his prediction for the Jags was Joe Brady.
I mean, but the thing, if you bring in those young guns, those young OCs,
he had Tom Brady convincing Ben Johnson to go out to Oakland or LA, Vegas.
So your structure, what is your structure, especially here in Jacksonville?
Oh, Brian Flores was the Bears. That's who his prediction was.
So we bring in another defensive guy. Like who? Once again, who is going to be the OC? Are we going to bring in a competent OC to call plays and put Caleb in better situations?
Yeah, here's his predictions. You tell me, like, he's got Kellen Moore going to the Cowboys. Like, I think Kellen Moore's bad.
I can see that, like, because Jerry doesn't want to deal with anyone.
Yeah, what's crazy is
he can control Kellen.
That's a whole other topic. I was looking at my boy Dan Orlovsky was pointing out, like, everybody's like, Jalen Hurts had a bad game. Jalen Hurts is rusty. Jalen Hurts, like, he went and like showed like 20 plays of like nobody's getting open.
No one's open.
Like, so you got Devontae Smith, you got AJ Brown. Like, your scheme ain't good then. Like, you ain't scheming nobody open.
No.
It's like the Packers knew exactly what they were doing every play.
Yeah.
You know?
No, when I was watching that game and they were talking about it, I was like, no one's open. But it's hard for the fan to see that when they're not showing the end zone view. If they're showing like the tight view from the end zone, you can see it. The few times they did, I'm like, where's he supposed to go with the ball? There's no one open.
All 22 in the end zone. Like, that's what he was showing. It was like,
yeah.
Green Bay had that junk covered up, man. It was like, damn.
Yeah.
He's got Aaron Glenn going to New Orleans, Ben Johnson going to the Raiders, the Jets, Arthur Smith, former Tennessee Titan and now Pittsburgh Steelers offensive coordinator. That does nothing for me at all. Yeah, those are your options there. Yeah, if the here, put it this way: if the Jags don't get so Cohen didn't have Cohen going anywhere. I guess if I'm the Jags, would you rather have Liam Cohen or Joe Brady? You know, I'm a big Joe Brady guy, but it's like, Joe Brady ready to be the head coach?
Well, is Liam Cohen?
That's what I'm saying. I agree with that. I didn't even like him at Kentucky. He was at Kentucky.
That was the only time he's ever been like an OC, and that was for 2 years. When he went to the Rams, he was a assistant.
Yeah, I know.
He hasn't really. Joe Brady has more experience, at least over a room, than Cohen does.
Yeah, I would rather have Joe Brady.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Now, like I say, you look at the grand, like we're talking about the head coaching position in the grand scheme of things. Who else do they bring in with them? Like, if you're Joe Brady, can you convince a Robert Saleh to come in to be your DC if Saleh doesn't get a head coaching job? Who's going to be that guy up in the booth to help you out down on the field, like it's like a mentor type. That, not saying I know who that guy is, but when you're looking at these jobs and these young guys coming in, who are they surrounding themselves with other coaches? That's why I said the other week, college football season's over. There's still going to be plenty of movement because there's still these coaching jobs, 7 vacancies in the NFL, and we all know these guys run in circles. So they're going to start plucking college guys, and then the carousel. Because what if a Sark got the Dallas job? What if a Ryan Day got the Bears job?
Right.
That resets the whole cycle in college football
No, for sure.
because that
That
Ohio
there's
State
always
job, that
there's
Texas
always that
job, that
fear.
Notre Dame job,
Yeah.
it's like the Saban effect all over again.
Yeah.
How many programs are going to change in a 2-week period?
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see if any of these guys have any interest or there's some back channel
Yeah.
deals going on where like, yep, we'll wait till the college season's over, we'll wait till the playoffs are
Mhm.
done, and then we'll we'll see. Because here's the thing, everybody allegedly is obviously waiting on Ben Johnson. Well, the Lions look like they're going to be playing until February. So
Yeah.
if those other teams are getting antsy, like they want to hire somebody, they're just gonna be like, all right, we'll take Joe Brady then. But obviously
Yeah.
Joe Brady's still coaching. So like again,
Yeah.
and then Aaron Glenn's
I
still
don't think
coaching.
I don't
So
think you can really hire anyone until that week in between Super Bowl, the championship games, the
right.
conference championship and Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I guess
And
at
even
that
then,
point
the
in time,
NFL wants you to wait because they don't want you to upstage the Super Bowl with your hires.
right. Yeah. Yeah, well, I was completely wrong on a lot of games last week in the NFL.
Yeah,
I
I
think I was
mean,
going upset at a
I had
couple.
the Chargers winning, and like I said, that game just
Yeah,
flipped. That
we
flipped
both
on
had the
them.
yeah, we both had the Chargers because Texans, they just
They
haven't
hadn't
played
played
great.
great this year, and CJ did
I
enough in that game, but the
I think they're
defense
gonna
won
get
them that game.
I think they're gonna get whacked this week, so it's all said and
Yep,
done. We both had the Ravens, both
yep.
had the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I took Green Bay just because I wanted to, but I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I figured the Eagles would win. I had the Bucks. Did you take
I did.
Washington?
Yep.
Yeah, see, the Bucks should have won that game. That was actually a pretty good game.
Shoulda,
Baker,
woulda, coulda.
yeah, the
Yeah.
Bucks should have won that game.
Jane Daniels is just playing next level, man.
No, he's
That
playing
kid.
great. He's
They're
playing
not
good
going to
ball.
win this week, but I thought they were good enough to beat the Bucks because outside of Mike Evans, I mean, McMillan has stepped up, but outside of Mike Evans and those backs, I just didn't see it. I mean, Kate Otten coming back helped, but I just thought that
The
Quinn
Bucks are
was
just
going to do.
they're too sloppy, man. They're too
Yep,
sloppy. Like
yep,
they had multiple opportunities late in that game.
100%. Because
Um,
if they don't fumble that on that fake reverse or whatever they're running, that game's over more
yeah,
likely.
or that bad snap exchange.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah,
those are two things like you can't do that type of stuff.
yeah,
They're just blunders. So
yep.
yeah, the Bucks again. I like what Washington's been doing. Obviously, Jay Daniels has been playing great, but yeah, then obviously the
Man,
Rams
Monday.
beat the snot. They beat the
I
snot out of
I had the
Minnesota.
Vikings. I thought Sam Darnold would not see ghost anymore.
Yeah, I thought I was
I,
gonna be a good. I thought it was gonna be a really good game.
there goes another one, Sponge, where we were just talking about where offensive play calling doesn't help their quarterback. Because at what point do you say, "Hey, we're just going to get the ball out fast"? Because there was polar opposites.
Nine sacks, dude. I mean, like
No,
nine sacks
well,
ain't all on your quarterback. Like
yeah,
I
there's
mean,
a polar
you can't
opposite.
block. You can't block none of these guys.
Well, not just that. Stafford, how quick was Stafford getting that ball out?
Yeah. Oh, well,
He was like
that's his mo, man. He's boom, get it
gunning.
out. Boom, boom, boom.
Whereas Darnold was the long developing routes they were running for Minnesota is like, hey man, by the fifth sack, we're not changing it up to say, hey, we need to get some quicker 3-step drops and stuff in. Because like you say, all of that is not on Sam Darnold. It's easy to blame him, and that's what we do. But
Well,
all of that was
so
not on him.
are you in an agreement with me? Like, did Darnold in these last two games against the Lions and then Monday night against the Rams in the playoffs, did he blow his money? Like, is he not going to get paid in the offseason? Or is there a market for Sam Darnold? Or is he going to be the backup at Minnesota to JJ McCarthy?
I,
What's your gauge
when
on
you said
Sam
paid,
Darnold's free agency?
so when you guys were
Like,
going back and forth on that, what did you didn't define what you thought paid
yeah.
was?
Well, I said he was going to be I said the highest paid free agent quarterback. That's what I said.
So what were we thinking? Like 3 years, probably 70
I,
mil?
I don't even know, to be honest with you. I didn't even have a number. I just know he's going to be the highest paid one
No, for
because I
sure.
think
I think so. I think so as well.
now, yeah.
I
Did he blow his opportunity to get
No,
like?
I don't think so.
I think he's going to get. I think he's going to get like a Baker deal, like a 2-year, 50 million or some shit.
Yeah, yeah, I could see
Like,
that, or
like that's
I could see Minnesota saying, you know what, let's run it back and let's just franchise him. Let's just franchise him,
that's
run it
that,
back one more year.
and see what we got with McCarthy as he comes
Yeah,
back off injury.
because at the end of the day, even if they feel like they franchise him for a year and it doesn't work out, it's just a 1-year deal.
Yeah,
It's just a
no,
1-year guaranteed deal.
I
So
almost think that should be the
that's what
route that
should happen.
Minnesota takes. I think Minnesota
Yeah.
might. I mean, but again, because here's the thing: like, would you take? And here, I didn't even get to throw this out to Jakari. Would you take Sam Darnold, or you want AR and Flacco to run it back in Indy? If you're Ricky's team, obviously they're in the market for drafting one of these quarterbacks. But
I got a
again,
better team. No, I got a better team.
he's like Tennessee is one of them. You know,
No,
who else you got?
no, but you got
The
to think
Raiders. The Raiders. Like,
but those 3 teams you just named are in great positions to draft a quarterback.
they're
The
going to
team you
draft a
probably
quarterback,
should be saying is Pittsburgh, who doesn't have a quarterback on their roster right now.
Yeah, because Russ wants to come back. But yeah, no, that's a great point. Pittsburgh,
They're not in a position to draft a quarterback.
Right, for sure. Like, and here's the thing, though. You know, you're going to go through a growing pain with a Cam, a Shador. You know, Quinn Ewers now has entered the draft. He's entered the chat. So you saw where Quinn declared today.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, he's not transferring somewhere else for $6 million. So I don't know if that was a lie or what. But anyways, but no, like, so if you're the Titans, you know, you're like, well, we're rolling with Shador next year. We're rolling with Cam Ward. You know, so like, can he be would you take Darnold as like a bridge guy to basically be like, kind of like how JJ did, or you draft this quarterback, he's got to play now, just like AR and all these other guys.
I believe
that's
in
what sucks.
Yeah, I believe in bridge guys because like even in you don't think if he played in with Vegas this year, Vegas's offense would have been better than what they had to throw at quarterback.
Well, here's one for you. This was a great one that I heard. Was it Cowherd? And somebody was saying, okay, because Purdy, you know, Purdy's up for the big. Here's my scenario. You're going to pay Purdy like what, $60 million a year, or would you pay Sam Darnold $25 a year? You know, Purdy or Darnold, and that's where it's like, that's where you can hamstring your franchise because you just paid Purdy. Is how much difference is Purdy and Darnold? I guess, you know. And that's where it's like, man, you got to make a decision on that to where
Purdy, I think Brock Purdy's better than Sam Darnold.
Is he 30 million more worth?
That's the
better?
problem when it comes to that's the problem with that league. When it comes down to numbers,
like I don't disagree. I think Purdy is a better quarterback, but is he third? Is he double? You know,
well, if you double, you probably won't have Trent. You probably have to trade Debo or
exactly.
Fred Warner probably won't be there. Like you start going down the list of names.
That's what I'm saying. That's where it gets tricky. That's where it gets hard when you got to pay these quarterbacks. So, you know, yes, he had a great season, and yeah, Sam Darnold the last 2 weeks, but also he did play up against maybe the best team in the league in the Lions, and they just lost. And then he just ran to a buzzsaw Monday night. So it's like I can't discredit Sam Darnold's body of work. No. He had a great year.
Yeah.
But
that defense was on one.
Yeah.
The other night.
Like that's what I'm saying. That like think about us talking about like front office, like how good of a job has Les Snead done with the Rams retooling that defensive line after you lose the best player ever to play the game.
Not just that, Sponge.
That D-line looks freaking ferocious,
Jared,
man.
Think about this. Jared Verse was their first round draft pick in like 5 years.
I know. And then they get fifth.
How crazy. And you hit on it. No, the thing is hitting on your draft picks. Unlike what they do here in Jacksonville.
Think about
they hit on their picks.
They hit on Puka. They hit on Kyron Williams. They hit on who's the
Cam Kitchens? They hit on Braden Fisk. They hit on Jared Verse.
No, you normally hit on your first and second rounds. I'm talking about when you get Kyron Williams in the 5th round and Puka.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Round.
Braden Fisk was what, second, third?
Second round.
Cam was
second
third.
Or third.
Cam was third. One of their corners, I forgot his name, is like 4th, 5th rounder. So like they're hitting on the guys, like you say, Puka, even Cooper Kupp. Like you just go down the list of guys and they just hit on them. And that's the problem here in Jacksonville. They're not hitting on their draft picks. And then the other crap you hear is Eric Armstead talking about, I felt like I should have been a 3 technique. No, you should have been a 3 technique the whole year.
That's what I thought they were bringing you in to do, man.
So like when you hear like who?
Yeah, because all season when you think about that, you're like, okay, you're gonna have Josh Allen on the outside, you're gonna have Trayvon on the outside, maybe you can play inside, and you're gonna have Armstead. Now you can have Devon Hamilton or somebody play that plug and play, or you get the second round pick who actually started playing good late in the season. So now you're like, that front four should be good, and it was not. And Armstead didn't, but he played end the whole year, and then late in the season he started playing a little more interior. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like the Jags were just a misfit mess, man, and like they were not as bad as their record. Like they have players, but they just didn't play up to. I think obviously once you get to that certain point where you're losing, they're checked out, mailed in. I don't care who you're telling. They're coming in, collecting their check. They're playing tough enough games to where they're losing one score games.
Because I think their wide receiver room is I think above average. They're pretty good. The offensive line is not good. The quarterback was still wait and see. The running back room is decent.
Well, but it's like it's been absent too. Like ETN is completely like what do you like? Obviously, it goes back to that offensive line being terrible. But
and then you hear Trevor I hate offseason talk. And then what did he say? He's like, well, the offense didn't really work because we couldn't run the football. Really, Trevor? It took you. We didn't need you to say that. We know that. We could see it. Like, and for the front office to not address the offensive line this past offseason is crazy and say, oh, we're going to run it back. And it's just like, what? Like, you're not going to draft anyone? Like, so if that guy stays as the GM, he better address. If he doesn't address the offensive line again, then you're not going to win. You're not going to win. Like, you look at the teams that
Here's the sad part. You just paid Walker Little. You drafted Anton Harrison 2 years ago, so that's basically your two tackles. They're like locked in. The interior has been where it's been rough. But you signed Morris from the Bills last year as a free agent, hoping that he was going to be a difference at the center spot. I mean, I don't know how good he played, but like I say, your guard play has been terrible. So it's like, you can't spend your first pick on a guard, so it's like you better go get one of the best guards in free agency, I guess, and then you better draft one in the second or third round.
So who do you take with the first pick?
As we would say, best available, I guess. I don't know.
Probably Mason Graham. I could see them possibly taking Mason Graham with their first pick at 5, but they won't do that because then they're going to say we have Eric Armstead.
I still would draft because he's old. Eric Armstead's washed.
No, I'm just saying what that guy would probably say. They probably won't take Will Campbell because they're going to be like, we just paid Walker Little.
No, exactly.
Will Campbell is an upgrade over Walker Little.
I totally agree. That's why it was a big question mark of like, why are they paying this guy? Week 15 of the season
because they were scared that he was going to walk after the season. I don't think Walker Little's that good of a. I think he's serviceable.
Yeah, I don't think he doesn't blow your doors off.
No, he's serviceable. So, so what are they going to do? Well, they have pick 5, I think it is. What are you going to do with the 5th pick? Because you're not taking quarterback.
I'm looking at a mock here. They got him taking Will Johnson, cornerback, Michigan.
So you're tying up more money in your secondary where when you can't rush the damn passer because you can't get any push in the interior, and 2, you can't protect your quarterback. At what point do you say we need to protect our franchise? The guy that's making $250 million, we got to protect him and get a running game and get him some protection so they can throw the football. Getting a corner does nothing for the Jags.
Yeah, like I say, the problem is when you're picking in that spot, like Mason Graham would be the guy. If you're going to go D-tackle, he goes 7 to the Jets. But obviously, like
even that doesn't make. Why would the Jets take another defensive tackle at 7? That's why I hate mock drafts are the dumbest thing ever.
I don't even know. This is just one from the Athletic.
Goodness gracious! Why would you take Mason Graham when you have Quinn and Williams?
You guys taking Josh Simmons from Ohio State, offensive tackle.
That makes sense because we need offensive linemen.
Yeah, like I said, the problem is those premium picks. If you're in the top 5, it's like you got to go best player. So instead of just overdraft, it's the whole overdraft thing. Like I say, Will Campbell at 5. I agree. Would
you be mad with Mason Graham?
No, not at all. I would probably take him. Like he would be more of an impact player.
That's what I'm saying. And so I get.
And the sad part is they took a second round pick on an interior guy. So they're going to be like, he's going to be the guy, you know?
Yeah. Kid from LSU.
Yeah. Mason
Yeah,
Smith.
Mason Smith. He played good this year. It took him a
No,
little while, but he
when
played
he
good.
but he didn't play until like the end of the year.
I know.
So again, that's probably why they don't go Graham. They'll be like, we got Mason Smith and we got an aging Eric Armstead, you know. But again, I
It
thought,
also depends on who comes in as the head coach.
yeah, no, for sure. Like I
Even
said,
though the guy,
I don't know. The
even though
Jags
the
stink
guy
right
is still
now.
gonna, even though the guy is still gonna make the pick.
Well, hopefully that's going to change. Maybe who knows? He's going to get fired. But
Yeah, we'll
all right,
see.
before we get out of here, who's your picks for this weekend?
Pretty chalk.
Yeah, the best game obviously is the Baltimore at Buffalo game. That's prime time. So I know you got KC over Houston,
yep.
Detroit over Washington.
Yep.
You going Eagles over Rams? Can the Rams do something here?
I think the Rams can, but I'm taking the Eagles.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to be an Eagle hater throughout the whole playoffs if they lose. I'm going Rams just because I think, like, I want to see the Rams D get after Jalen kind of like they did against Darnold.
Yeah, I mean, and then the Eagles are taking some hits. The Kobe Dean's out.
Yeah, that hurt. Like, is there drama with AJ Brown, dude? Like,
no.
So he's just playing around, reading books.
There is drama.
Like, his locker room. His locker room interview, he was like, "I don't even want to talk to y'all." You know.
But my thing is this. It goes back to what we talked about with at least me and you, with the kicker for the Redskins. Sorry, Commanders.
Yeah. The Redskins.
Do what you got to do, man.
They're trying to petition to get back to it.
No, do what you got to do. If that's
do your routine, do what you. Yeah, exactly. No,
if that's his way of not blowing up on the sideline and making it a bigger deal, and he has the LeBron and act like he's reading the book.
Yeah, I guess you could be like George Pick. You could be like George Pickens. Dude, he's a walking soundbite, dude. George Pickens is great.
He's looking like the UPS man.
Did you see what he said?
Yeah. I don't know how teams.
Are you optimistic about the offense going forward? Nah.
That's fine. You know what? At some point, these young guys are going to learn that, yeah, you could come in being a diva and thinking you're the guy. You're going to end up just like Deontay Johnson possibly on a fifth team in a year.
Yeah, cut.
You know what? People will get fed up with their crap and just say, you know what? This is the NFL. You're not entitled to be here. You don't have to be here. If you don't like it, you can't sit here and just be a good teammate and all of that. Then get the hell out of here.
You're easily replaceable in the NFL for sure.
Exactly.
All right. So who you got in this Baltimore Buffalo game, man? This is
going to be a good game.
You got Josh or Lamar? Like
I got Lamar, man. I think this is the game that gets him over the hump. I think this is the one. Him and Henry.
I love Baltimore.
Hold on. It's not on. You know who it's on?
No, it's not on Lamar. It's not
on
like
Monken.
Lamar's gonna. Yeah, no, for sure. He's gonna have to come.
It's on Monken. I don't care what anyone says.
Give Henry the ball. Like, you know, can Bateman, is Zay Flowers healthy?
Probably not. I know he missed last week.
Yeah, so that's big.
Who cares? Line up Isaiah Likely at wide receiver and Andrews at.
That's what create those matchups. Mark Andrews and Likely have been great tight end. Like,
you have them both on the field and you create those matchup problems. Like I say, this game is all on the offensive coordinator because their offensive game plan these last couple of playoffs have been god awful.
No, for sure. And I think Monken's gonna be smart enough to do. Like I say, I think it's gonna be a hell of a game.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I'm looking forward to it.
I feel like we're on a Bills Lions. Is what I think. I think Bills are gonna beat Kansas City.
That's what you're hoping. You're hoping your Lions are in there.
Well, I think the Lions are going to beat Washington, obviously, and then I think Rams Eagles, like those would be two good matchups.
Yeah.
You know, but
yeah,
like I say, the Lions are getting a little bit healthy on defense. You know, is Montgomery going to come back? I don't know. So the offense plays well.
Practice in the walkthrough yesterday, so they're at least
like I say,
if anything, they're setting it up to get them ready.
I think Washington can even make it interesting if, you know, Jaden Daniels plays good, which I think he will. I think Jaden Daniels is playing great. So what you don't want to get into for the Lions, you don't want to get into a shootout. You don't want to get into a track.
No. You want to put them out of their misery early. You want to confuse Daniels as much as possible. And you want to pop him every time you get a chance.
Totally agree. All right, dog. Well, I know you got to get to work, so
yes, sir.
We'll wrap up this edition, and we'll come back to you next week with a breakdown of who won this national title Monday night between Ohio State and Notre Dame. We both got the Buckeyes taking the title, and we'll see who's in the Final Four for the NFL. Yeah, we'll maybe talk some college basketball. Gators took one on the chin last night, man.
I saw that.
Played terrible in the first half. Couldn't guard. Missouri couldn't miss. They made a hell of a run. They were down like 17 at one point.
Was it in Missouri?
Down. No, it was in Gainesville. But it was like it was a 9 o'clock tip. The game didn't get over till like almost midnight, dude. There was like 28 replays. It was like I literally, when I texted Joe, I was like, I don't like this 9 o'clock tip in Gainesville. Like, why are we tipping at 9?
TV, man. ESPN rules it all.
You had all those other, like, it was like 20 SEC games yesterday.
Though, you should not be tipping the ball off in Gainesville at 9 p.m. outside of if it's the SEC championship game or final. You know what I'm saying? Like, like we're loaded up on that, but a regular, no, not on the Tuesday night.
Yeah. No. Again, they missed 10 free throws. They missed 10 free throws against Kentucky. You know, we talk about free throws. Like, you miss free throws, you're going to lose.
Yep.
When you lose a 2-point ball game and you miss 10 free ones, you're going to lose. So, all right, dog. We'll wrap it up. We'll holler.
Like, subscribe, share.
Hook them down, baby. Ohio State. Holler.